The Galactic Military Academy's observation deck fell silent as the human instructor stepped into the containment field. Rin, a tall Velcrosian with crystalline skin that refracted the harsh training bay lights, felt his respiratory vents constrict. Beside him, dozens of cadets from across the known galaxy pressed against the reinforced viewing glass, their collective dread palpable. "She's insane," whispered Cadet Jorah, her antennae quivering. "That's a Kreneth cub." Rin had studied Kreneth predators in xenobiology. Native to the death world of Krynos Prime, they were apex killers. 1,200 pounds of muscle, chitin plating, and rage when fully grown. Even a cub, barely 3 months old and only 200 pounds, possessed enough strength to tear through standard combat armor. The juvenile inside the containment field had already killed 2 security drones during transport. The human, Commander Tessa Chen, stood barely 5.5 feet tall. She wore no armor, only her standard-issue uniform. Her species was physically unremarkable by galactic standards. No natural weapons, no enhanced musculature, no protective exoskeleton. Humans had only joined the Galactic Coalition 30 cycles ago, yet here one stood, volunteering for what every other species considered a suicide demonstration. "Your attention, cadets," announced Instructor Vorath over the intercom, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Commander Chen will now demonstrate human bonding techniques with hostile xenofauna. Medical teams are standing by?" The Kreneth cub noticed Tessa immediately, its 6 eyes locked onto her, membrane lids sliding back to reveal vertical pupils that dilated with predatory focus. The creature's body lowered into a hunting crouch, powerful haunches coiling. A low rumbling growl resonated through the containment field's audio feed, a sound that triggered instinctive fear responses in 17 different species present. Rin watched his combat readiness monitor spike into the red zone. His body was preparing for threat response even though he stood behind 6 inches of reinforced alloy. Then Tessa did something that defied all tactical logic. She crouched, not into a defensive position, not reaching for a weapon. She simply lowered herself to the cub's eye level, reducing her profile, making herself vulnerable. Her lips curved into what Rin had learned was called a smile. Humans bared their teeth when experiencing joy, another biological peculiarity that confused most species. "Come here, my little monster." Tessa's voice rang out, high-pitched and melodic. The Kreneth cub charged. Several cadets gasped. One Threxian cadet turned away entirely. Rin's training screamed at him to trigger the emergency protocols, to flood the containment field with stasis gas, to do something. But he remained frozen, unable to look away. The cub closed the distance in 3 bounding leaps, each powerful enough to crack stone. At the last moment, instead of impact, instead of the bloodshed every observer expected, the creature stopped. Its massive head, already the size of Tessa's torso, pressed against her chest. Not attacking, not biting. The Kreneth cub's growl transformed into a sound the translator struggled to interpret before settling on purring. Tessa's hands, those small, fragile human hands, reached up and scratched behind the cub's auditory ridges. "That's right. Who's a good monster? You are. Yes, you are." "Impossible," Rin breathed. But Tessa wasn't finished. She stood and the cub followed her movements with complete trust. She walked across the containment field, and the predator padded alongside her like a domesticated companion. She sat and the creature sprawled across her lap, easily crushing her with its weight. Yet Tessa only laughed, that strange human sound of delight, and continued her rhythmic scratching. "What you're witnessing," Instructor Vorath's voice crackled with barely contained amazement, "is what humans call domestication. Their homeworld, Earth, is classified as a death world, Tier 7. Yet humans not only survived, they turned their planet's predators into companions. Images materialized on the display screen surrounding the observation deck. Creatures called wolves, pack hunters with powerful jaws. Creatures called cats, solitary ambush predators. Creatures called bears, eagles, horses, even insects and reptiles. Hundreds of species, many of them deadly, all transformed by human persistence into allies. Humans evolved alongside predators. Vorath continued. They learned to read body language, to communicate across species barriers, to find common ground with creatures that should have been their enemies. They call it empathy, the ability to understand and share feelings with another being, regardless of how alien. Rin watched as Tessa produced something from her pocket, a nutritional cube specially formulated for Krynath biology. The cub's eyes tracked the treat with laser focus. Tessa held it up, made a gesture, and the cub sat back on its haunches waiting. "Good monster," Tessa praised, then tossed the cube. The cub caught it mid-air, its jaws capable of shearing through starship hull plating, instead gently catching a reward. "On Earth," Vorath explained, "humans don't have the strongest bite, the fastest speed, the sharpest claws, or the deadliest venom. What they have is patience, determination, the ability to see a snarling predator and imagine a friend. They spent thousands of years turning wolves into dogs, wildcats into purring companions, prey animals into working partners." Tessa stood and walked toward the observation deck, the Krynath cub following so closely it was practically her shadow. She pressed her hand against the viewing glass directly in front of Rin's position. "Every species here has evolved defenses." Tessa's voice came through clearly. "Armor, venom, claws, natural weapons. Humans evolved something different. We evolved the ability to make anything our weapon, our tool, or our friend. That cub? In 6 months, she'll be fully grown and bonded to me. She'll fight beside me. Trust me with her life, and I'll trust her with mine." The cub's massive head pushed against Tessa's side, seeking attention. She absently scratched it while maintaining eye contact with the cadets. "The universe is full of monsters, cadets. The question is, what will you do when you meet them? Fear them? Fight them?" Tessa's smile widened. "Or will you crouch down, call them over, and turn them into allies?" Rin felt his perspective shift, a fundamental recalibration of everything he thought he knew about strength, about survival, about humanity. These creatures didn't conquer their death world through superior firepower. They conquered it through something far more terrifying, the absolute refusal to accept that anything was truly an enemy. As the demonstration ended and Tessa led her little monster away, Rin understood why the Galactic Coalition had been so eager to recruit humans. In a galaxy full of warriors, humans brought something unique. They brought hope that even monsters could become family,